Dan Illman, Mike Beer, and in a Saturday Travers day full of matchups where you've got Latruska against Swiss Skydiver in this race, the Personal Ensign. You've got Jackie's Warrior against Life is Good. And of course, you have the 3-year-olds in the main event. I'm really looking forward to this particular one-on-one match. Here's the field for the Personal Ensign, and you've got Latruska, who's just grabbed the division by the horns with the unfortunate injury of Monomoy Girl. She's 6-5. She's likely to be on the lead. And then you've got Swiss Skydiver, last year's Preakness winner, who is just all quality, in a tough spot against the boys last time out, missed some races due to the quarantine issues. This horse, Swiss Skydiver, at 7-2, might actually be the value of the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, certainly if that morning line holds, she is the value of the afternoon. We'll see if it does indeed hold. Latruska, is she the horse to beat? Yes, she is. She's probably going to go to the front. She's in raging form right now. But if they bet the race according to the morning line, it's hard not to want to take someone else.
Dunbar Road is 20-1. That just shows how deep this race is. Dunbar Road is a millionaire. She was third in last year's Breeders' Cup Distaff. Now, after she won the Delaware Handicap last summer, Mike, as we take a look at the Timeform U.S. Pace Projector, we see that Dunbar Road is more of a mid-pack type runner. After the Delaware Handicap, she missed some time. She came back with some okay races, but she never got back to the pre-Delaware Handicap form, and that's where she's going to need if she's going to beat this tough field.
Yeah, she's going to need to show up and run her very best race to beat this field. And I just, I think it's fair to wonder if she's still capable of it, Dan. She is a Grade 1 winner at Saratoga back as a 3-year-old. And she's been fine since then, but the reality is she hasn't gotten that much better since she was at 3 when she won that Alabama. Her last 2 races, for whatever reason, they are not good performances. They are her first 2 starts without Lasix. She will not have Lasix again on Saturday. Based off of her last 2, she can't win here. It'll be interesting to see what she does.
We see Latruska on the lead. As time goes by, should be close given a good start. And that was the key to her last race, the Clement Del Hirsch, where we both liked her chances. And she was in a tough field. She Dares the Devil, Venetian Harbor. She had no chance after the break.
Yeah, she did lose her best chance at the start. That was a good field. It wasn't as tough a field as this one, though. So she's going to have to, really show up and run her very best race here. And she's probably going to have to do it while going after the favorite on the lead.
Bonnie South, the number 3, is a horse that's shown better positional speed this year as a 4-year-old than she did at 3. This is a very consistent filly. She was a good second behind Latruska in the Phipps. What happened last time out in the Delaware Handicap? Just a disappointing effort. I think it's a very good sign that off that race, Brad Cox runs back here.
Yeah, I sort of felt the same way about it. She was pretty bad last time, and it was hard to, find what the excuse might be. I mean, I wouldn't think it was the 1.25 miles because it didn't seem like the distance beater. She just never really looked like she was going to run at any point in that race. We know that she's better than that, Dan. I thought she ran great in the Phipps 2 back, and if she can run a race like that, she could be a player in here.
Swiss Skydiver is a $2 million earner. She has beaten the boys in the Preakness. She won the Alabama here last year, and she was just in a very tough spot, being the horse to chase Knicks Go in the Whitney last time out, off of a layoff. I'm just going to draw a line through that race. In the Apple Blossom, another situation where I didn't like how she was down inside. I think they could have gone on with it. She has early speed. Do you think they're going to use it this time and try to get real close to Latruska?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see them put her right into the race early here and just see what happens. I mean, you don't have to go dual, but you got to keep that horse within range and see if you can land in the right kind of a trip. All in all, I guess her Whitney was fine. It's not where they wanted to run. It was a race she was very unlikely to win. And at the end of the day, she was no match. But this is a much better spot for her. We know that she's plenty good enough to beat these horses if she shows up and runs her A race. Her Beholder Meyer off the layoff, I think, shows that she's still good as a 4-year-old.
Royal Flag won the local prep for the Personal Ensign. The Grade 3 Shoe V, taking advantage of a fast pace. Let's watch that race right now. She is last early, but they are going. She is going to swing to the far, far outside. She's actually going to drift out under a left-handed Joel Rosario stick so much she's off the screen, and she's still able to wear down these exhausted rivals. She has always hinted at a lot of potential, Mike. She's never been off the board from 10 starts, and if this pace heats up, I can see her coming with another late run.
Oh, yeah, certainly. If they go in front of her, she will be running at the end. You can see her there just sort of gobbling up the ground very late in that race as the leader's tired. And she got there She didn't run the best race last time, Dan, but she did win. She's another one, I guess, a lot like Dunbar Road in some ways that, dating back to, early last year, she really hasn't improved all that much, but maybe she falls into the right trip here.
Latruska's only loss this year came when they tried to rate her in the Azeri. Since then, they've put her on the lead. And she won the Fleur de Lis last time out, a race in which she was heavily favored and deservedly so. This is a way tougher field than the Fleur de Lis, but she shook loose. She did what she had to do. She earned yet another triple-digit buyer speed figure. And if they leave her alone on the lead, she can easily make them pay again. I mean, Swiss Skydivers, it's hard to say, she's the horse to beat in a race where there's a Swiss Skydiver in there, but she might be the horse to beat.
Yeah, I think she is the horse to beat. Deserved, I think, morning line favorite at this stage of the game. We'll see what happens. I mean, personally, Dan, her last two races to me have sort of been, sort of layups for her where she just got the softest possible trips on the lead with nobody going after her. But that being said, we know plenty about Latruska. She is not a horse that needs to have things handed to her to show up and be really competitive. She can go fast and keep going. She's a really, really good horse. I do think she's the horse to beat, but this is a tough spot.
Miss Marissa received a brilliant ride from Daniel Centeno to win the Grade 2 Delaware Handicap last time out. Let's watch that race on July the 10th. And maybe it was the early pace that worked against Bonnie South, who you see in the Judmont Silks at the back of the pack just floundering. Miss Marissa was able to make the lead. I talked to Jimmy Ryerson after the race. He was stunned that they gave this horse the lead after it looked like someone else was going to go, passing the stands the first time, and then Miss Marissa took them the rest of the way. She likes distance. She is a very likable horse who happens to catch a pretty tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take a shot here in a major race, and I would say deservedly so. She really does like distance. She comes off of a really nice Grade 2 win last time. It's not the first time she won a graded stakes race, Dan. She's a really nice horse who happens to land in a really tough spot.
I think a mistake some horse players would make is simply saying that the 8 Harvey's Little Goyle is a turf horse. She is a very good turf horse, but she has also proven on dirt, and she's proven to run some really nice races on dirt. She was third in the Alabama last year behind Swiss Skydiver, but she didn't exactly have the best trip in that race, and some of her prior efforts on dirt were really good, especially that Busanda very early in her 3-year-old campaign.
Yeah, true enough. She's already a stakes winner on dirt. Is she better on turf? Maybe she is, but she might be one of those rare horses, Dan, who's equally good on both surfaces. And she is a Grade 1 winner on the turf. Her Alabama, where she stumbled at the start, she was never beating Swiss Skydiver that day. She probably ran the second best race, though. I think she's very intriguing moving back to the main track.
There have been a lot of eyes on Graceful Princess since before she debuted. Why not? Look at her pedigree. She's by Tappet at a Horse of the Year Havre de Grace, and she underperformed for most of her first 8 or 9 starts. I think she's gotten good recently. Let's watch the Molly Pitcher against an inferior field to be sure, and she was 14-1 in this race. She carried a lot of ground throughout, Mike. She was 4 wide on the first turn, 3-4 wide on the backstretch and into the lane, and she just wants distance. She eventually wears these horses down. A 96 buyer speed figure, by far the best she's ever earned in her career. And I just think she's come back very mature as a 5-year-old. If you throw out those wet track starts, 2 and 4 back, she's run well both times this year.
No, I agree with that. She ran fine last time. Just stayed on better than the 2 horses that were second and third. Those 2 horses I don't necessarily think would be competitive against this field. But Graceful Princess did what she had to do to win, and her win 3 starts back, or narrow loss, I should say, 3 starts back. I thought she ran fine that day. I mean, I loved the ride that she got from Saez. He just put her on the lead and sort of took control. That's not going to work here. But listen, if they can just take her back and make one run like they did last time, maybe she gets a piece.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Personal Ensign. I'm more against Latruska this time than I am Swiss Skydiver. I'm curious to see what we get from Graceful Princess. I also think Bonnie South is going to rebound with a good effort. But I'm just looking for prices, maybe even to spice up the exotics. You're going Swiss Skydiver.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ultimately, Dan, I'm sort of hoping that this morning line holds because I really do think that morning line price on Swiss Skydiver's value.
Personal Ensign, Grade 1, Swiss Skydiver versus Latruska, and a promising supporting cast.